guys shocked to see me because it's Wednesday? Well, if you've been following along, you know I never do any videos on Wednesdays on my channel. But I'm taking a departure from the normal to bring you something a little fun for this Wednesday. Because I am currently at home self-isolating in my domicile. And so yeah, I am, to prove it, I am at home, see? I'm in my jammies, and I don't care. Judge me if you want to. But I am listening and following the CDC and federal government guidelines that says self-isolation will flatten the curve of this COVID-19 bullcrap that's going on right now. So I'm being a very good American and just a good human being in general. And so I wanted to do a little something different. So today we're going to have a fun little thing that I call We Go Into the Movies Wednesday. Yes, we go into the movies Wednesday. And what that is I have my little page boy hat here. And there's a bunch of pieces of paper in here. And each one of those pieces of paper has a movie title on it. And the movies that I love, some blockbusters and some lesser known movies, but they're all movies that I've seen numerous times. And so some of you have maybe wanted to watch some of these movies and you haven't had time, or you want to know more about them before you watch them. Maybe if you listen to this, we go into the movies Wednesday, you can decide if you even want to waste your time. Now, this video will contain spoilers. So this is your spoiler alert. I will say the name of the movie, and I will do my speed synopsis. I'm going to call it a speedy synopsis of each one of these movies. And if you don't want to hear the ending or don't want to hear about the movie, you'll have an opportunity to turn me off, and I will never know, and I will not care. But if you just want to know my take on these movies and my summaries, my synopses of these movies, they're going to be speedy. Okay? So you're not going to hear a lot of details. You're just going to hear like the main points. I'm going to see how fast I can do these. And I'm going to do 3 today. Three, that's my goal. So let's get started. Let me see. Just so you guys know, I'm shaking it up. Totally random. And the first movie is Old School. The movie is Old School. Movie number 1, Old School. If you don't want to hear it, now is your time. Mute me, turn me off. Here's my synopsis of the movie Old School. Comedy. All-star cast. Will Ferrell, nicknamed Frank the Tank. 3 middle-aged friends, disillusioned with middle-aged life and being married or having a committed relationship, go back to school and on a college campus and relive their wilder days and become campus legends. They have an old guy and they start a fraternity type thing, and they have an old guy on there that they call Blue, that they kill in a jello match, a human jello match. He dies of a heart attack or whatever. They sing, Will Ferrell sings Dust in the Wind at his funeral, and it's hilarious. And anyways, the dean of schools hates them. They all went to school together with him. They all messed with him, and he hates them, and he's trying to shut down their fraternity. But anyways, he does not succeed in shutting them down. In fact, the fraternity that they started is legendary on the campus. Old School, hilarious. Frank the Tank is hilarious. And there is a guest appearance by one of my favorite artists of all time, Snoop Doggy Dogg. Yes, you need to watch it. It's hilarious. You will laugh your ass off. That was old school. Let's see what the next one is. The next movie is The Searchers. The Searchers.
Take her easy there, Pilgrim.
The Searchers with John Wayne is one of the best movies of all time. Also in this movie is Natalie Wood, who, as you know, met an untimely death when I do believe her husband got a little jealous of her and Christopher Walken on the boat, the Splendor, and I think Robert Wagner whacked her. Or like pushed her off the boat or whatever. She couldn't swim. He knew that. It's still, there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. I've watched a lot of investigation discovery about it. But anyways, Natalie Wood was definitely one of the most beautiful women of all time in Hollywood. And did you know she was her parents were Russian immigrants? Yeah, they were. And, but Natalie Wood, Miracle on 34th Street, this was one of her movies. And she played Debbie, the youngest niece of John Wayne's character, Ethan. And she was the only one left of her family that got massacred. And the Indians stole her. They kidnapped her. And it was this one Indian chief, a Comanche named Scar, because he had a scar across his face. And so John Wayne and his illegitimate nephew, who's also got some Indian in him, Marty, his name is Marty, they go on this journey for years to find Debbie. They never give up. They never give up. And they have a lot of dialogue between them, and Ethan's very hot on Marty, and really, Marty is annoying in a little way, but, John Wayne does his best to like get on Marty's nerves and give Marty a hard time. But anyways, that's kind of funny, all that stuff that happens. But they finally find Debbie. And when they do, John Wayne wants to kill her because he says that she's ruined because she's grown up with these Comanches. And they are, he thinks that she's tainted. Her self, she's no longer white, is what he says. She's no longer white. But he really doesn't want to kill her, but he feels like he's doing her a favor because she is no longer human. He dehumanizes them, and he feels like she's part of that now. But Marty refuses to allow that to happen. And he's like, you're going to have to kill me first, Ethan. And Ethan was like, oh, okay. I don't like you anyway, you little turd. But he doesn't kill him. But anyways, so Debbie's running away from them in the desert or in the mountain range, wherever they are, running from them, trying to get away from Ethan, who is coming to kill her. So you think. And then Marty runs after her, and he like tries to get between her and Ethan throws him wherever. He goes flying, and John Wayne goes towards Debbie, and she's like, who is Natalie Wood, and she's like shirking back because she's afraid he is going to kill her. And that was his intention. But instead, he picks her up and he puts her, and he says, we're going home, Debbie. And she puts her arms around his neck. She realizes he's not going to kill her. He's going to keep her safe. And they go back to one of the neighbors that has been looking and longing for Debbie for so long also. Because that was such a close-knit community, and they never gave up on Debbie being found. And so John Wayne, at the very end, Ethan, he could not kill her. He could not do it. And he picked her up and he took her back to safety, where she could grow up with the people who loved her, who still loved her, that were left. It is a heart-wrenching movie, and you just cannot beat John Wayne, period. But this movie is my favorite movie of John Wayne's, and he looks so good in that movie. Oh my, he is so good looking. Very young, very good looking. he was born to play this part, definitely. So that is my speedy synopsis of The Searchers. It's a little bit longer than my one the old school one, but it's definitely a Western / very emotional movie. So if you haven't seen The Searchers, you are missing out. You need to watch it. It's always on Turner Classic Movies or on one of the Western channels. It's so good. I'm not even joking. I don't really even love Westerns, but I love John Wayne and I love this movie. And Natalie Wood, I've always loved her, and I'm sorry that she got murdered by her husband, Robert Wagner. But that's just my opinion. So that's the second movie. Let's look what number 3 is. Shake it up. Shawshank Redemption. The third movie is one of my faves. Shawshank. The Shawshank Redemption. That's coming up. Tune me out. Turn me off. If you don't want to know, The Shawshank Redemption's coming up next.
Get busy living or get busy dying. That's goddamn right.
The Shawshank Redemption was adapted from a short story by the master of horror himself, Mr. Stephen King, and the name of that short story was Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. So it's in year 1947, a banker by the name of Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins, is wrongfully convicted of the death of his wife, the murder of his wife and her lover, a golf pro. And Andy, as the jilted husband, is the primary suspect, and he is wrongfully convicted and sent to the prison in Maine called Shawshank. It's a fictional prison. It did not actually exist. But everything you've ever heard about prison occurs and more in this prison. So Andy, an innocent man, is sent to Shawshank prison for the rest of his life. He is brutalized. He is raped. He is mistreated in every sense of the word. And the only thing that really gets him through there is the fact that he believes in hope. And he preaches that to some of the other inmates who he befriends. And so one of his best friend that he ends up having there is a guy by the name of Red, who is played by Morgan Freeman. And Red is a career criminal. In fact, everyone there, basically in Red's group of friends or of convicts there, they're all real criminals except for Andy. And their favorite thing to say is when somebody says, "What are you here for?" They're like, "Well, I didn't do nothing. My lawyer screwed me." Very funny. That's the great thing about this movie, and movies like this are always my favorite. You are on an emotional roller coaster while you're watching this movie. Like, you laugh, you cry, you get angry, you get sad, you get mad, you get happy, all those things. That's what speaks to you, because that's real life, right? Like, we go through those gamut of emotions. So anyway, Red and Andy become friends. Red is known as the guy who can get things into the prison. He's the one who can get in contraband. You want cigarettes? Go see Red. You want whatever? Go see Red. So Andy tells Red, "I just need 2 things from you. I need a rock hammer, which is I can use to shape and polish rocks, and I want to make myself a chess set. And I like to play chess. And I also want a poster of who was the biggest bombshell actress at the time, 1947, was Rita Hayworth." So Red gets him those things, and you think, he just wants to see a pretty woman on his prison wall. No, he is behind that poster, and he has 3 posters during his time there at Shawshank. But the first is Rita Hayworth, the second is Marilyn Monroe, and the final one that you see there is Raquel Welch.
Beautiful people, top designer clothes, front row fashion shows. What you do and who'd you know? Inside the world of beautiful people, champagne and rolled up nose, prenups and broken homes.
And so, behind those posters of those ladies, Andy is using his little rock hammer there to tunnel out of the jail. And Andy's very, very smart, and he's a banker. He starts doing taxes for the corrupt guards. He starts doing taxes for the corrupt warden. The warden has him set up straw accounts, and meaning fake accounts all over the state of Maine in different names, and he's embezzling money. I mean, this guy is like dirty Warden. But anyway, so in the midst of all this, Andy is also writing letters to the state legislature, and he's getting money to start a library in the college, in the penitentiary. He's teaching his buddies and all the convicts, he's giving them like GED lessons. They're taking the GEDs, they're getting the high school diplomas. Andy's just a good all-around guy. He's the man that knows pretty much everything and knows how to get it done. Well, in the midst of all this little punk guy comes from another prison. He's transferred there, and he tells Andy and Red and everybody that he knows the guy who actually killed Andy's wife and her boyfriend. He's heard the guy admit to it in another prison. So Andy's like, oh, this is how I get exonerated. And he takes the information to the warden, who has the guy, the young guy, whacked so that he can't, testify to Andy's innocence. And because if Andy leaves, so does the warden's gravy train. So Andy gets thrown in solitary, and because he defies the warden and is like, why are you doing this to me? This is my life. And the warden's like, you're going to solitary. So he thinks, that's going to break Andy's spirit, because he leaves him in that for a very long time. And here's the thing. Red himself and all the guys think Andy, when he comes out, has crossed over. Like, he has no more hope. And they think that he is finally, he's accepted his fate, and or he's going to kill himself in his cell. So the morning after Andy gets released from solitary, and there's an alarm that goes off, and Red and all the other inmates are like, Andy's whacked himself. Like, Andy's hanging from the ceiling or whatever, the pipes in there. But actually what Andy has done is he's finally tunneled through his hole behind Raquel Welch. That's who's on the wall at this point. And he has tunneled through the prison walls into the sewage system and swam through miles of all kinds of stuff. And he has come out a free man on the other side. Not only is Andy free and redeemed, he is going to get a little bit of revenge. And he goes to all the accounts that had been set up for the warden, because he knows where they are, and he empties them out. Not only that, he sends proof of how corrupt the warden is to the local papers and to the local authorities. And you see them busting in the prison to arrest the warden, but the warden's too much of a little wussy, corrupt douchebag, and he shoots himself in the head rather than shoots himself in the mouth and kills himself rather than have to face the music of what he's done. So Andy is redeemed. Red goes before the parole board, and he says the right thing this time, because he is really rehabilitated. Like, he's like, he has this big long speech, and they're just like, and they release him. And Andy has told him, if you ever get released from here, go to this tree stump, and I've got something there for you. And he goes to the tree stump, and there, sure enough, is money that Andy has left him, and a place in Mexico. He's like, you need to come see me. So he violates his parole, Red does, and he goes and he meets Andy in Mexico on this beach. And Andy looks like a beach bum, and he's sanding down this old boat that he's bought. And you see them embrace, and the two friends who are now redeemed because of one another, they are together again. And that's how it ends. And it is just a masterpiece. It is a wonderful movie. You really need to watch it if you haven't seen it. I love it because if I was an attorney, I would definitely want to work for the Innocence Project, or to help people who've been wrongfully convicted, because I cannot think of a worse fate in life than being wrongfully convicted of something and rotting away. And there's so many people that's happened to. It's such a reality. So, and who would have thought that Stephen King would come up with something like that? But it is an awesome movie. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed reviewing these movies with you. I hope you have enjoyed it too. Maybe we'll do it next Wednesday too. We go into the movies Wednesday. We talk in movies Wednesday. You never know. I'm random. Bye.